All right, Bucks win, Bucks win, Bucks win, and win comfortably. Well, as comfortably as it's been this season. Certainly there was some uncomfortableness throughout this, but ultimately ending up with a 11-point victory, able to get the victory and move on to a 5-1 record. We'll talk about it all. The good, the bad, the ugly, how things did get concerning, and some more injury issues for both of these two teams, who both have very good records despite all of the injuries that they have faced. But ultimately, the Buccaneers able to get this victory, and a huge part of it is, I think let's just start off with, let's not bury the lead here. Baker Mayfield, what a performance again from Baker Mayfield. I think after week one, I said, it wasn't perfect. It might never be perfect with Baker Mayfield throughout 60 minutes, but he was just so good at the end that he still had a great game. He's putting together perfect games, right? He was as close to perfect as it gets last week and as close to perfect as it gets this week. So, even my compliment was not complimentary enough, because he has just been playing at such a high level. I ran through the old NFL passer rating calculator because I wanted to see what his passer rating is, and I don't know a way to check that live. It's 139 in this game. 139 was his passer rating, despite missing towards the end of the game all four of his top receivers, along with multiple offensive linemen and a third-string guard because the backup guard got hurt. So, and also Bucky Irving isn't out there. They're starting running back. You think about essentially Baker Mayfield in the second string. He's playing with the second team right now, practically, with the exception of a few guys, and still able to put together this kind of performance. I think the play of the game, the sequence of the game has to be Baker Mayfield. The Buccaneers are only up a point after the 49ers are able to score for the second straight week. The Buccaneers give up points at the end of the half and then at the start of the second half. Just field goals this time instead of touchdowns like last week, but only a 1-point game. 3rd and 14, you're thinking you're going to give the ball back to San Francisco. The 49ers have seemingly figured something out down the field. And then Baker Mayfield with a 3rd and 14 scramble, which is just such a great play, and immediately following it up with a long touchdown too. I believe that was Cameron Johnson. Yes, Cameron Johnson. Or was it? No, was it? I think it was Tez Johnson actually who made that catch. Yeah, Tez Johnson had the long touchdown. Cameron Johnson had the blown coverage one earlier. So both guys coming through. Ultimately, we got to give a lot of credit to the backup receivers who, again, we're going to give all the credit to Baker because he's the starter who was able to do all this. But, so Emeka Egbuka goes down with a hamstring injury, which, again, we talked about with Mike Evans. Hamstring injuries, sometimes they're 2 weeks, sometimes they're the rest of the season. You just don't know. Given that it wasn't, a visually, horrifying one, I would assume it's not, a season ender or anything like that. But yeah, always scary. Hopefully it's nothing too dramatic, only a couple of weeks, and hopefully Evans and Godwin can kind of get back in the meantime relatively quickly. But yeah, again, Sterling Shepard made some plays. I really like what Sterling Shepard does as a depth piece. Cameron Johnson, who saw that coming? Him being our leading receiver in this one, and then Cade Otton has gotten going these past couple of games, which is important too, because he's an important piece of the pass game, and getting him going works. Pass blocking works. Again, 49ers, they're already injury riddled, and then they lose Fred Warner on top of it. Both teams have their injuries. So I'm sure 49ers fans, if they're checking out this video, will say, hey, just talk about your injuries. Yes, both teams were banged up, but ultimately the Buccaneers were able to take advantage. On the flip side, I did not think Mac Jones played horrible in this game. I really didn't. I thought that his inability to protect the football was his biggest issue, which, again, that play early on, which should have been a pick six. Poor Vildor couldn't stay on his feet. It was like he's on ice out there. But, what was a pick that led to a touchdown, that was a great concept by Todd Bowles. Really fooled Mac Jones, got a rusher straight in his face, and fooled him on the coverage down the field. Hard to accomplish both of those things, and Bowles was able to do it because that's what Bowles does. So, that was a great concept, even if Jones, I'm sure he'll tell you he should have thrown the ball into the dirt. The other interception was fourth down. Really a great play by Jamel Dean, showing that he's not going to give up the flat, which looked open live, but actually he was doing a great job of, if Jones threw it to the flat, he would have been there to at least make a tackle and hold, and not allow him to get the first down on a fourth down. And then when Jones goes deep, he was able to get back and gets the pick, which he didn't necessarily need, but then it also led to a personal foul, which ultimately got the Bucs further down the field, so it worked out. I believe it was a little further down the field after the foul. But, so for Jones, I mean, those two interceptions you can kind of live with. He also fumbled 3 times. One of those was called back with the, very close call. Was hoping that would be one of those call stands plays, but they call it back. Great play by Lavonte David to not just get the sack, but get the fumble. Ultimately, it didn't count, but again, it worked out. And again, for the 49ers, sure, they're riddled with injuries, but they just beat the Rams last week. Like, this is not a bad team by any means, even with their injuries, because they have such a great coach and they have depth at important positions. But again, Tampa Bay doing a really good job of being able to cover well. Once Bowles seemingly figures out the right scheme to play, I feel like it's over for your defense, and that's kind of what for your offense. That's what happened in the second half. 49ers had that field goal to start the third quarter and nothing after that, which was to me the big difference. That and Baker Mayfield making plays. I'm all aboard the Baker Mayfield MVP train at this point. I don't know who else you would even go with. He's just playing awesome football, which is cool to see. So yeah, I mean, a couple of big moments. I will say, like, it just feels like some of these mistakes the Bucs make is going to come back to bite them at some point, right? I mean, the special teams stuff of, Sean Tucker not sure if he should run out and then ultimately decides to run out but not getting too many yards, the holding on the opening kickoff, not give them a great field position to start that drive. It does feel like, and not really a mistake, but 3 fumbles, not being able to, I guess technically 2 fumbles, not recovering any of them. Like, that's just kind of luck, but still, it's like, it feels like you gotta make those plays work. And of course, the Vita Vea penalty, listen, it's going to get forgotten about because, like, it didn't end up impacting the game. But Vea can't make that mistake there. And we all love Vita Vea. He's a fantastic player, and he had another a huge impact in this one as well. But, like, I mean, that's not a mistake you can make there. I get you want to try and see if you can get a block, but you have to be able to avoid the punter in that situation. It was, I think, running into the punter, but it was you have to know if it's 4th and 4, don't even risk it. It's just not worth the risk right there, because sure, it'd be great to block a punt, but like, it's much worse to give them the first down. Like, you have to just if you're going to go for it, you have to make sure you can get it. And it's better to, try and get it in a way where you're still avoiding the punter if you don't get it, I think. So, yeah, a lot of players to give shout-outs to defensively. Like, Yaya Diaby had a big day in this one. He had a pair of sacks. Lavonte David, already shouted him out. He had the play of the game last week. Looked like he had the play of the game this week as well. Jamel Dean with not just a pick, but also a strip sack, which is, again, that's part of the Todd Bowles thing, right? He teaches you, go for the football, and sometimes it's annoying when broken tackles happen, but, like, it works. It's a good strategy. How many corners on the on the blitz get a strip sack? Not many, but he's one of them. So that was cool. Vildor, hey, he did get beat a couple times, but he also, like, for a 4th corner coming in, getting a pick, having another pass breakup, having a competitive day, that's going to get the job done. Hassan Reddick got half a sack in there as well. So guys contributing, and Jacob Parrish, I mean, my goodness, what a find from Jason Light, getting this guy in the 4th round. He's been a great player. Tyke Smith, also, that's a huge play, when talking about mistakes. So Tyke Smith, after the Jamel Dean interception, Tyke Smith just goes up and starts blocking Trent Williams, which is, like, a hilarious visual because Trent Williams is twice his size, but, like, he's playing it out, hustling, doing what you got to do. Williams just gets frustrated because of the way the game is going. He slams Tyke Smith to the ground. Well, that's a 15-yard penalty. Those 15 yards mattered because the Buccaneers got in field goal range and were able to ice the game, where maybe they wouldn't have had they been 15 yards further back. So little hustle plays like that, they add up, and not making the key mistake, because the 49ers, they're going to sit here and say, we made plenty of mistakes and that's why we lost, and that's a part of it. So, that's sometimes mistakes are forced, and good job by Tyke Smith to hustle and make that play work. Also, Soroka Dennis, slowly playing better. Let's put a pin in that for now as well. Still not perfect, but not the black hole he was the first couple of weeks, I would say. So, yeah, really impressive win by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 5-1. Talking about moving forward, I think I said in this 5-game stretch with the Seahawks, 49ers, Lions, Saints, and Patriots, I'd be happy with 3-2. That's what I said. Well, now you kind of got to get greedy and hope for at least 4-1 in this stretch. The Monday Night Football game against the Lions, it's going to be tough, right? An extra day helps, but just with how much injuries the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have, you wish that this was later on in the season. Just like you wish the Eagles game was later on in the season. Those important, top NFC games, having to play them while banged up. And again, the Saints have been competitive in some of these games. You can't guarantee a win, especially when it's a divisional matchup the following week. And then the Patriots have really shown that they are more than just a bad team, right? They've been able to really play good football. So that was a game that kind of going into the season felt like was a bit of a clear win. Is not a clear win as it turns out. So we'll definitely have to get back on track with all of that stuff. And there will be the bye week is in between the Saints and the Patriots game. But hopefully, hoping for two out of those wins. I won't freak out if you only win one of the next 3, but hey, maybe you can get all 3, and then you're thinking Super Bowl. Kind of thinking it right now. Really good start to this season for Tampa Bay. Really fun stuff. Those are my thoughts. I'm sure I missed stuff, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.